Today we will cover Chapter 21 of the DevOps Handbook, Reserve Time to Create Organizational Learning and Improvement, presented by Danica Christensen, Rachel Bixel, and Andrew Oborn. In this presentation, we will discuss improvement blitzes, rituals that can be created to get rid of technical debt, the benefits of enabling everyone to teach and learn in the work environment, the importance of encouraging engineers to attend and participate in DevOps conferences, and how creating internal coaches and consulting can spread expertise across an organization. Improvement blitzes, also known as Kaizen Blitz, refers to a dedicated period of time where teams focus on addressing a specific issue, which often results in a new way to solve problems and possibly a to-do list for future changes. These blitzes often take place over several days. An example of improvement blitzes can be found at Target's monthly challenge program at the Target DevOps Dojo. The DevOps Dojo is 18,000 square feet of open office space where DevOps coaches assist teams in improving their work. They also participate in intensive 30-day challenges where teams from internal development visit the dojo with an internal issue that needs solving. These developers work closely with dojo coaches and engineers to reach a resolution to their problem within 30 days. When the month is up, they return to their normal work, having solved a major issue, while also bringing new knowledge to their teams. The Target DevOps Dojo has a designated dojo staff and can run 8 teams at a time. This allows them to focus on the most significant and strategic issues within their system and address those issues. With each dedicated team focused solely on one issue, teams can solve in days what normally would take months. These teams create big improvements within the system. Smaller activities also take place at the dojo, such as 1 to 3 day events called flash builds, and training events every 2 weeks known as open labs.
We can also schedule rituals in order to further reinforce the principles of DevOps. One of the easiest ways is to schedule daily or weekly blitzes. During this time, working on features is set to the side so work can be done to fix problems. When these blitzes take place, there is often a goal in mind. That goal is not only to solve problems, but also to improve the daily work. When blitzes are done work a week, DevOps teams are brought together to tackle a problem and to work on an improvement activity. Once the blitz week is over, groups will make a presentation to their peers describing the problem and the workaround or solution they came up with. This practice reinforces a culture in which engineers work across the entire value stream to solve problems as well as reinforce fixing problems as part of our daily work, and it demonstrates that we value paying down technical debt. This practice also allows those closest to the work to identify and solve problems on their own. With increasingly complex systems, it is almost impossible for management to create a command and control system to fix problems as they occur. If a spider web breaks in the right combination of spots, the entire web can collapse. Complex systems are similar. They need to be fixed and maintained on an ongoing and frequent basis. As Dr. Spear observes, no wonder then that spiders repair rips and tears in the web as they occur, not waiting for failures to accumulate. Facebook is an example of this process. According to CEO Mark Zuckerberg, some of their most successful products came out of an activity similar to these blitzes. One such product is the Hip Hop Compiler. As Facebook grew, it experienced capacity problems. During one of these blitz events, an engineer experimented converting PHP code into compatible C++ code. Over the next 2 years, a team created a compiler to convert all production services from PHP to C++. This resulted in Facebook being able to handle 6 times higher production loads. In addition to blitzes and similar activities, a dynamic culture of learning creates conditions where everyone can learn and teach. As with scheduled blitzes, this can be done by scheduling time. Nationwide Insurance is an example of this. In 2011, they instituted what they call Teaching Thursday. On this day, management creates time for their employees to learn. The topics are also open to what the associates want to learn about. This allows teams to cross barriers and learn and teach from each other new skills and things they can take back with them to their respective jobs. DevOps teams and technologists in general are required to continue learning if they are to stay up to date and relevant with the changing and evolving technologies. We can further foster this learning and technology through daily work. Spending time doing code reviews or other activities contributes to the learning and teaching ideology.
To create a learning environment, we want to encourage employees to attend conferences, teach at those conferences, and even encourage them to organize internal or external conferences themselves. DevOps Day is a self-organized conference that is free or nearly free. At these conferences, many DevOps practices have been shared. The DevOps Enterprise Summit was created for leaders to share experiences of implementing DevOps practices. Many companies have adopted internal conferences for their employees. Nationwide Insurance created a technology conference called TechCon. They did this to better teach themselves and have everything being taught have a nationwide context. In 2015, Capital One, one of the largest banks in the U.S., held their first internal conference to promote a culture of learning and build relationships between technology professionals. They had no vendors at this event to keep the focus on Capital One goals. Heather McMahon, the director of Target, and Ross Clanton attended the DevOps Summit Enterprise in 2014. Afterwards, they created their own internal conference and since then have held 6 internal DevOps Day conferences. To spread expertise across an organization, it is common practice to create internal coaching and consulting organizations. A good example of this is found at Google. In 2005, Google had 20% innovation time policy. This allowed for developers to work on a Google-related project outside their primary area of responsibility. Some developers formed grouplets to pool their 20% time to do focused improvement blitzes. One testing grouplet had the mission to help adopt automated testing at Google. One of their famous methods is testing on the toilet. Each week, they put a weekly newsletter in every bathroom. One of these episodes had initiatives that helped advance automating testing. Test Certified was one of those initiatives. It created a roadmap of 3 levels to improve automating testing. It also included Test Certified mentors that gave help and advice, and included Test Mercenaries, which were testing coaches that helped improve coding practices. Eventually, the grouplet got funding to have a full-time Test Mercenaries. Another thing they did was to have Fix-It improvement blitzes. Fix-Its are when an engineer with an idea recruits all of engineering for a day for intensive sprints of code, reform, and adoption. These Fix-It blitzes helped create energy and excitement. They also helped the long-term cultural mission reach new heights. In this presentation, we covered what improvement blitzes are and how they were implemented at Target, creating a culture of employees learning and teaching from one another, scheduling rituals to reserve time for improvement work, the importance of having employees attend internal and external conferences, and lastly, spreading expertise by having internal coaches and consulting organizations.